Hello and welcome to The Rare Agent, where we pull back the curtain on all things real estate. We're your hosts, Christina, Mary Jo, and Murray, offering a judgment-free space for collaboration over competition. And today, for the first time ever, we're doing a crossover with the Toronto Living podcast. Mark S., Joey V., the dynamic duo redefining real estate with their down-to-earth and fun-loving approach to helping clients buy and sell in Toronto's ever-changing real estate market. Welcome.
Thank you for that.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for being on the show.
Glad to be here.
Awesome. And it's your first time being guests on a podcast.
Yeah, this is pretty.
So we feel very special as well.
Thank you for
thank you for having us.
being our first. Yeah.
We're your first.
When I found out, oh, I feel so special. We'll be gentle. Pop the cherry.
Except for this one, she just knocked my mouth.
We like the energy.
We'll save that for the bloopers.
She's not gentle. Be careful.
Yeah, I can be a little aggressive. I don't realize my own strengths sometimes. Me too. When I'm like rubbing someone's back, sometimes they're like, and I'm like, oh, sorry, I don't realize that. I'm like, actually,
you're trying to be nice.
I'm trying to be nice. Make you feel it.
There you go.
Wow.
See, European energy.
We went a little
Yeah.
sideways.
It's all good.
Absolutely.
But we wanted to kind of know a little bit more about you guys.
Yeah.
When did you start real estate? How long have you been partners? Tell us a little bit about yourselves.
You want the tea?
We want the tea, baby. Spill the tea.
All
Yeah.
You want to kick it off? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll kick it off. So I've been in the business for about 17 years. I started pretty young at 21 and tried to figure it out. And I was a solo agent for the last 16 and a half. And then this man entered my life and we called each other. So I call myself Mark the Shark and he's Joey the Swan. And it kind of, Joey the Swan.
That's
Oh,
Dream.
so it works.
Yeah.
It's like a flow.
It's
Okay,
a flow,
got it.
right? So I'm not a shark when it comes to
Yin and
negotiating.
yang.
I'm pretty, exactly. But Joey's got this calm demeanor to himself where he kind of like just very calming energy. But if you look at a swan below the water, their feet are always hustling. They're trying to like get to where they got to go. And that's Joey.
This brain is spinning right now.
I like that. Okay, I like that analogy.
We kind of had a similar idea of starting a podcast around the same time. I feel like we launched almost the same week, which is weird.
Like within weeks.
Oddly, yeah.
Because I watched your first episode with Renee.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I want to have Renee on.
Oh, she's great.
She's
so
lovely.
good. Shout out Renee.
Yeah,
Stager
she's a great
extraordinaire.
stager.
Yeah. Good friend. And yeah, she was our first guest, I think.
She was, yeah.
She was our first guest. Yeah. So I was reading this Rick Rubin book about ideas and how things come to you. And it's like, we're all kind of satellites and signals go around and you get the signal of an idea and you could just kind of got to go and execute on it. And I feel like that's what happened. Like so many podcasts started in the last year. And what we wanted to create was just something where we could like simply demystify some of the hard headlines that get talked about in the media and just do it in a fun, loving way. But your guys' podcast, we love.
Absolutely.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
Thank you.
You're on regular rotation.
Yeah. That's so nice
You made
to
our
hear.
Spotify wrap up.
Yeah, I was so proud. I was like,
That's
thanks
so
for
nice.
sharing it because of you don't know until someone tells you that like you are a part of their weekly routine.
Absolutely.
I have clients and I'm sure they have people that message them about, oh, I love that episode. And, hearing from you guys really meant a lot to me when I heard that you guys were listening. And, I definitely take ideas. I love your fun loving energy when you guys post your content.
Yeah.
So I was like, I just want to kind of incorporate that into ours as well.
Yeah.
Because, it's not, real estate doesn't have to be always so serious.
We talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we've got like 3 guidelines and pillars that we follow. And like our goal is to help our clients buy better, sell higher, but have a little fun along the way. So we did a little something for you guys as well.
Yeah, we did. Absolutely. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
Oh, come on.
Get out.
Oh my God.
I'm a slow unbuttoner.
Oh, yeah. He's like a Superman.
Are you serious?
That is fantastic. Oh, my God. We got to take a picture of that. What is on the top there? Fish?
So that's the shark. That's me. That's Joey.
Great emojis.
And that's a heart.
Oh, that's so nice. I love
amazing.
that.
I love that so much.
So we're like,
have
we want
to
to do
take a
something
picture.
creative for you guys because like I feel like you're bringing something very special to the market where it's not like a salesy podcast and it's not like an agent focused podcast because I think there's a lot of those.
Exactly.
And what we're trying to do and what you guys do really well is storytell from people in the city and kind of show the city for what it is instead of a very salesy approach. I think that's...
We were trying to keep it, yes, it's real estate, but
Sure.
there's more beyond real estate. Everybody has a life outside of real estate.
and a story to be told.
And they're so
Exactly, like-
dynamic in their lives, like with the layers, like the charity work that they do. Even with Marae with her her fitness shows and like her healthy holistic lifestyle. Like we want to bring that to our audience and show them beyond real estate who we are.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad you picked that up.
Thank you. Yeah, that means a lot.
It does.
The Karen Stintz episode, like, bawled my eyes out.
Yeah.
I was writing. I'm like, this is so good. And like after every episode,
that was such a good one.
it was so good.
I really
yeah.
loved it.
And then Chef Gordon.
Jagger Gordon.
Gordon. Yeah. I felt like after every episode, I'm like, I want to donate money. How can we help these causes?
This is so nice. This is literally exactly what we want because like not only is there other things than real estate, but real estate is also all those things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? So like being a realtor, you have to encompass all these things because you're working with people who are
Have
changing
lives.
their lives.
Yeah.
These are like major things that are happening in their lives, right? A move is huge. Sometimes they're going through something because of the move, or the move is because of something they're going through.
Yeah.
So having like all these different facets to it is really a part of
facets. I was exactly thinking.
I
that
know
word.
we've been reading each other's.
we have.
So I'm saying the signals are there. We pick up at different times.
Yeah,
And
but there's so many like layers. I think like I just did a lease for a client of mine. I sold them a property, and I don't really charge for leases for my clients. But these people were refugees that just came from Afghanistan, and a story about them was just in the paper and just what they went through coming to Canada, and to be able to be a part of something like that where you're helping people because we have a skill that we can help people with.
right.
It was just
And that's the vibe that I wish the industry had more of.
Exactly.
It's too focused a lot of times. We were saying before, like the awards, they're good and there's a purpose for them. And some people are motivated by that. But what we do is so much more than just the awards part of it. It's the job. It's the everyday consistency of showing
connected.
up. And,
We're connected to people on a very, very personal level, from their finances, from, whatever they're going through, whether it's an estate, a divorce. Like how much more personal can you get?
For real.
Right?
Yes,
like,
absolutely. And I think that people in general, in most cases, are elevating in a way where they're understanding things differently. They're realizing, I think COVID really pushed people out of their comfort zone.
sure.
So when that happens, you have to elevate or you kind of get left behind.
Right.
So because of that, people are noticing if you're authentic. People are noticing if you're actually doing something because you care or if it's just about producing.
For sure.
Right? So people who see that and who kind of look at the bigger picture are going to be attracting the right kind of people, right? And that's what our goal is, always to attract the right type of people, because we also want to enjoy what we're doing.
Yeah.
We don't want to be working with people that we're not aligned with.
Right.
We want people who kind of are on the same page at least, right?
Absolutely.
And understand that we want what's best for them to happen as well.
Exactly.
Right.
It's not just a trend. We're people over transactions every time.
Yeah.
yeah.
And-
Well, that's why it's mostly referral. Like
Right.
our business is mostly referral because of that.
Yeah.
Because we do treat
One day the
people.
podcast will get us some business. One day, but it will come with. It's all.
That's not even the
Encompassing-
goal.
No,
though.
Yeah.
It's
not.
just like if that happens, that happens. Kind of.
It's the same for us. It's just do the work every day. The podcast is a little side gig that allows us to kind of vent out some of the frustrations that you read about in the media. But really, it's just doing the work every day. The consistency is
Exactly.
what moves the needle.
Yeah.
I think you guys are very much aligned. That's what we get the sense of.
Oh, him and I?
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
we are.
like with us, I mean,
yeah.
we're kind of all on the same page.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you are, you sort of attract more people like that.
Yeah, you were saying something about that.
Yeah. Well, I just on the sense of like, so I started. I'm like almost 3 years in at this point. I met Mark after the first year. I think we first met off a deal, and that's the one thing I really resonated with. It took me a second to click in of like, you don't need to take everything that hits your door. Like you can actually.
Yes.
Kind of try to align yourself with good people, because the more you surround yourself in a circle of like-minded people, the better your life is just going to be in general.
You all rise up together,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
Like
You
the
also
water,
want to value yourself.
for sure.
Right? Like what I mean, I've been in the business for 22 years, and I remember chasing everything.
Yeah.
And really belittling myself on some level because I just didn't really know. I just wanted the business.
Sure.
So I just
I'm
accepted
sure a lot
everything.
of realtors can
Relate.
relate to that.
Yeah,
for sure.
because you don't realize you're being taken advantage of. Like people don't appreciate your time. They don't appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah.
And obviously,
Or
as
that you really can't help them. You really want, like, sometimes you just like, well, maybe I can do it. And it's like, I actually, like, it's sometimes you're spinning your wheels for people just because you can't help, like, you can't tell them that, like, the hard reality is that
this is not possible.
This is not possible for you.
It's hard for us to say that because we're purely commission based. But as we, I think, mature in the business, it's like, it's actually helping you by telling you, look, we can work for 2 years. We're not going to get what you're looking for.
Yeah, you're wasting your time and you're wasting their time.
Yeah.
So you're better to be upfront from the beginning or save yourself a lot of hassle.
For both sides, for sure.
Yeah, because you're not going to make money either way.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you're not happy and if you're not in a good place in your life, you're not going to be able to help people to your best potential.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the goal. Like, that's what I do. Now I'm like, okay, if I'm feeling good, if I'm in the right place, then I'm going to be the best to everybody around me.
Absolutely.
Right? And if something is taking away from that energy, like I look at things very energetically.
Same,
If you're taking energy and it's not coming back in a positive way, it's not like a give and take, then I don't think there's space for that in my life. Right?
Yeah.
So if you're looking at it just simply on that basis, and if you look at it like every action has an energy, right? Every interaction has an energy. So if you just simply take it to that level, then you're connecting to yourself and to other people, and you're elevating yourself and other people.
I love it.
With friends, partners, clients, everybody around you, kids.
Like that's what the speeches and the sales seminars need to be about. Not
Exactly.
about like how to game the algorithm to become popular on Instagram.
Thank you.
Like-
Exactly.
I think we're all getting sick of that.
Oh God, thank you
I
for
have
saying that.
zero interest in that.
It's so funny because the industry has become it's become so obsessed over just trying to make a viral video happen that like, I don't know. I don't see I don't know how many actual clients come from an Instagram reel. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like an odd thing to fixate on over the last little bit.
We say it all the time. I think like social media is a big trap of the business that we're told to be spending so much time on it. But if you look at your ROI, it's very little.
I think it's like a business card on some level. Like, it's just one more thing. Like, people want to know who you are, and that's just another level of them getting to know who you are.
For sure.
Yeah.
Right? Like a website or,
Like a quick glance, this person's active, we get it.
Something you need. Yeah. It should be something you need, but to fixate
It's a tool.
on, yeah, exactly.
tool,
To try to run the algorithm and try to I'm going to try to do the most shocking video on the planet to try to get my views up skyrocket. And
And then what?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what do you really get?
Those listings are still sitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like those cutting edge marketing videos, unless they're priced right.
The fundamentals still have to be there.
Yeah, exactly. They're still
We've had reels that have hit like ridiculous numbers.
Yep.
It didn't change anything.
No.
Like it really didn't change. It didn't make us sell the property faster. It didn't yes, we got lots of traction from it, but
At the end of the day, if
if it's not priced appropriately,
It's just another tool. Like
is,
if I choose to look at everything that I do just as a tool, and I don't look at anything like it's going to bring me something. It's just, here's another little piece to the recipe,
picture.
right? Like another ingredient, right? And
that.
you look at it as a whole and a big picture. Something will bring something, and it doesn't matter what it is or which part it is. It's just, it's going to work out eventually, the way it's supposed to.
Yeah. It's like having all the right ingredients for a good recipe.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like
then bake that shit.
We're getting into cooking classes now. that kind of makes me think of like Mexico. Like me and Marie just got back from Mexico, and I know that you were in Mexico, and we kind of briefly touched on this, but we happened to stumble upon this amazing place. Should I talk about the name?
Sure, why not?
Yeah. It's called Florian Farms.
Flora Farms.
Florian. Oh my God. I don't know where that came from. Flora.
Sorry, Flora Farms.
Flora Farms. But first, there's actually two places. There's one called Acre, and then there's another one called Flora Farms. But Flora Farms is the original that's been there for about 30 years.
30 years, yeah.
They started out as a farm, and they grow all of their fruits and vegetables, 95 varieties from heirloom seeds. So old, nothing's genetically modified. And they grew from the farm to a restaurant to stores and culinary cottages. And they started doing pre-construction for different phases because people just loved the idea of this community.
Yeah.
They literally built a community that you don't have to leave.
But what's really amazing about it is the founders it's from love. They did it like personally.
Yeah, with passion.
And then with passion. And then it just started to grow. It started small, and then they just kind of expanded as the need came in.
Amazing.
And
30
you
years,
feel
30
it.
years.
So
You feel it when you're there. It's just like we were really
we
inspired.
loved it. Like honestly, we've never seen
We
anything
almost
like
like bought.
we're like, where do we sign?
Yeah.
But literally,
We're still
like
thinking about
it's got something called fractional ownership there, which you don't. It's not a timeshare because it's deeded, and you can buy certain weeks in different cottages if you like.
And then you can rent it out. And it's a great investment because there's very limited You actually have to be invited to learn about it.
Right.
Yeah, we had to get an invite, which
Wow.
no
Well,
problem.
obviously.
Just another day in the life.
But one of the coolest things about this place is that everything that they grow there, which is all the plants are pretty much something you can eat. And if you own something there, you can forage your own food.
Wow.
Unlimited.
You love that word, forage.
my
She
God.
says it all the time. She goes, you could forage.
I'm like, you can forage.
She loves
It's
that
like
word.
getting mushrooms. I don't know. And then they have cooking classes and they teach you about herbalists and medicine and like it's just like this.
I could live
Sounds
there.
like the best retired community.
Yeah.
It's
Right?
amazing. It's
Like-
literally amazing. They
It's
have
mostly-
yoga, Pilates. They have a gym. I'm
you,
sold.
You don't have to leave, honestly. And there's another community right next door called Acre that I think is trying to build the same thing, a little different, but this one has been going for 30 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Is this something you can stay full time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just pay for it.
Okay.
It's not cheap, but
But what I like about that story is it took 30 years to build that magic.
Yeah.
exactly.
And I think we live in a time where it's like instant gratification.
Yes.
Why isn't my thing working after one video?
Absolutely.
Like with the podcast, kind of just off air, we're talking like 50, 100 episodes is really the goal to see if things are happening. And this is a story that now 30 years later has really become a popular thing.
Yeah.
And I think like the shift, the time is right for the shift to happen.
Post-COVID.
Or I think
Right?
we're going to be patient. I thought, okay, Christina, you're going to start out, be patient. And I was like, oh my God, it's like 30. Now we're at 30 something episodes. I was like,
Are we?
yeah,
Oh my
we're at
gosh.
30 something. But it's just you always have to check your patience because
Yeah.
it's like you knew that you knew that you were going to get into this point here,
Yeah.
and it was going to feel long and unrewarding at some points, and it's like just keep forging on because the plan is that eventually it's like compound building that it will
Exactly.
become
Yeah,
bigger.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you had to
that's-
plant that seed on day one to get it to episode 30 and 30 years
Exactly.
to get to a community where people are like, yeah, please invite me.
Yeah.
I'm lucky to be even invited. They're not
Yeah.
even trying to sell that, right?
Yeah.
There's so much of an interest in it.
I'm so happy to hear, like, your t-shirts are the best ever.
I
I like, honestly,
Can
like,
we
it's,
get one? So I really
We'll work
want
something out.
those.
We'll get us an invite to Mexico. We'll sort it out.
yeah.
You're gonna
people
have to
call
have
your
us
people.
on your podcast.
I love it.
And then we'll wear.
All right.
Oh,
yeah. We can work something out. We'll
But
figure it
your
out.
feedback honestly means a lot to
Yeah.
us because it's tough. We don't like you're like, okay, well, who should we bring on and what do we want to talk about and what are people going to relate to and feel
And we don't want it to be just another real estate podcast,
This is
we want
the
it
challenge.
to
Yeah.
give something like what is needed.
Yeah.
We want that kind of approach. Yeah, and something a little bit outside of the box.
I think you guys are excelling on it because what you do well is storytell.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like some of the other podcasts, I'm being told. This you guys are telling. Like, I don't know if that difference translates
that's,
well.
That's good to hear.
So
yeah.
I'm always curious, like, okay, who is this person? What's their story? How do they impact Toronto? Like Karen Stintz, I knew as a counselor.
Yeah.
And then hearing this whole other side of her, I was like, whoa, what?
Yeah, she's something else.
Yeah, it was
She's an
really
human
incredible.
being.
Yeah.
And she totally changed that company.
Right. Like when us the capital infrastructure she brought in and all the changes she made and to where it sounds like it is now, it's like, this is incredible. And it's a
But
story I would have never
you
known.
saw her being emotional.
Yeah.
So you could
Yeah.
see it comes from the heart. It's
The
not
passion.
just like,
Yeah.
I'm going to do this because this XYZ, right? It's just like something she loved.
Yeah.
And something that
She's
means a lot
genuine.
to her.
Like I've seen her from the beginning at Variety Village and what she's brought to Variety Village and keeping it open through COVID,
Right.
which was a
challenge in
huge
itself.
challenge.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
The funding, the operations. Yeah.
yeah.
not even being able to have people come there, like all of the funding shut down and not all the programs shut down and that place needs funding.
Yeah.
Right. So it's
impressive.
the most respect.
I wanted to circle back to something that you
Sure.
said. You said you like to be able to just kind of vent about things that are like really annoying that are going on. What's the most annoying thing to you guys right now? I was holding that one.
So one website in particular.
Yeah, I was gonna say that comes up.
Yeah.
Blog Teal.
Oh,
Really?
yes.
It stresses me out how
It's negative lately.
you know
That's a
the
headline.
motivation is just to get clicks and to get eyeballs, and I respect the hustle, but I think it's disingenuous when you're like, we did one episode where we just tore apart one article because it was so factually wrong on so many levels.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I
And
want to see that one.
we're trying to do it in a respectable, polite way.
Yeah, but it's hard because it's very much it's exactly what it is. It's meant for that viral click, right? It's meant, and then that ends up circulating in the environment that you're in. So anybody you're talking to is like, I heard it's terrible right now. Like I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot
Yeah,
pole.
so it's almost like the motivation is to say something negative because negative news travels faster than good
Absolutely.
news.
Yeah.
And now you have this whole narrative out there just to get clicks to sell ads on a website. to me, at the end of the day, I'm like, that's what this is all for? Just to sell ads on a website? Yeah. You're unfortunately leading someone down a completely terrible
Look at
path.
the energy that they're putting out in general.
And then we're having to fix it.
Some people that say they're like economic, like, you know, they're all about giving you the real, like, all they talk about is the negative.
The negative.
Yeah.
The negative stuff.
And if it's accurate, I'm on board for that. Like we've got a trend of sales happening in Toronto where sales are down for the last 3 months. That's a fact. We can say that. There's data to back that up. But like we joke about every headline is people in Toronto are insert
an emotion, an extreme emotion. People in Toronto are furious
about Toronto home real estate prices. Like it's, I don't know. It just, to me, that's where we would hope to instill a little bit more knowledge. So much. And like, we don't
like
need
the Toronto
that.
Sun.
I had two clients, two buyers recently that were able to buy homes, and they've been waiting for years, not able to buy homes. That's actually a very positive thing for those people. You know, our market was just going crazy for a while. It needed to settle down a little bit, I think. You know, and you got to plan properly for these things. It's not always just going to keep going that way.
Well, I look at the condo
That's
market.
the reality.
3 years ago, it was untouchable for so many people. And now prices have come down. And so it's like your rates are higher and your monthlies you do have to be careful about. But there is a really good opportunity to get into a price we haven't seen in 2-3 years.
Yeah, exactly.
So those stories are important to tell. And when they're being bombarded by so much negativity all the time, I feel like there's a place for podcasts like ours and yours and a couple others out there to really distill what's actually where the opportunities are and not just focus on cherry picking some terrible headlines.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was just
appreciate
speaking with my sister about this actually yesterday because she's been toying with it for a long time about making the first purchase, and it's been like, the conversation was very much based on, I'm just going to wait for things to settle down. Like, I don't know, everything just sounds so crazy right now. Like, I don't feel like it's the right time. And I'm like, but also you got to keep in mind that, you know, a couple of years ago, everybody feels like they're going to stretch their budget. Like whenever you're making a purchase, it doesn't feel comfortable. It feels like always like I'm spending too much. My monthlies are going to go up. Everything's going to feel tight. But with the opportunity comes from the fact that like right now you can do that and not have competition. You can do that and have
absolutely,
not your choice of the pick of what you want out there.
This happened in 2020, and we were begged people to buy. We're like, you guys have no idea. Like this is the time. And sure enough, 2021, it was over. You had like a 4 to 6 month window, and that's usually what happens.
And I feel like we're in that right now.
We are.
Oh It's I feel I could just tell by the analytics that I'm seeing online from my listings.
Starting to change.
People are online. They're like, is this the bottom? Have I hit the bottom?
I think we're very close.
To be honest. I think we're
on the swing up a little bit.
We've started.
I think January is going to bring new optimism,
confidence.
New confidence.
I think if the rates go down even a quarter.
Well, they've already gone down. Fixed rates already have gone down like a percentage.
But I mean, like we've been holding pretty good. Like I think we're starting to see encouragement now in the buyer's market. Like I spoke to Erin this morning, or the mortgage brokers we had on, and she said they're beyond
flooded.
Busy. Flooded.
A lot of brokers.
And that's what happens, right? They start, they're busy, and then all of a sudden we're busy.
That's like a good indicator. You know, I talk to stagers, photographers. If they're getting busy, that's a good sign that the market is somewhat picking up. And like we don't want what happened in the last year and a half. Like that wasn't healthy either.
No, exactly.
But finding that balance is, I think, what we're going to see for the next short period of.
Which is perfect.
Good for everyone.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
We don't enjoy going to an offer and taking out the financing condition, the home inspection. It doesn't. We don't like that. That's a misconception.
And I don't want to be in competition with 17 people.
Right?
I'm sorry. Like I would prefer to have my clients be able to look at a property for more than 15 minutes. You know, like
take
so
their
they
time,
can actually see
sleep
where they're
on
going to live
it.
for the next 20 years.
Like
get an inspection.
I had a conversation. So my last brokerage, we had working with one group of clients, and they were it was like, I don't know, 6-7 offers we had lost at that point, whatever it was. And I remember having a phone call with the agent I was partnered up with at the time, and I was like, this doesn't feel right. Like I don't feel like I'm actually like supporting my client. Like I'm there being like, you have to remove everything and just like take the risk. It doesn't feel like you're doing your job, you know?
Exactly.
We're finally at a stage though where we can be realtors because we can negotiate. You know, like which I think we're very happy about because we haven't had that opportunity for a long time.
Several years.
Use our skills.
We get to use our skills. This one I call her what do I call you? The cobra. What's the one that squeezes?
She can't tell people.
Not
the cobra.
No,
the boa
constrictor. The boa constrictor.
Slowly.
Yeah, that's my nickname.
Next
for her.
emoji, we got to go.
That's what she sends me the emoji. She's like, right? Then she sends me the emoji. I was like, on it.
Love it.
Yeah, well, like it's funny as partners, you figure out what your skills are, what you're good at. You know, I'm like, okay, you're good at that. I'm good at this.
Yeah.
And then just
do our
It was
jobs.
like-
and
We're
get it
kind of
done.
like you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, we got that a little bit. We're still figuring it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to find the spots that work together and how to work them together.
For sure.
What
Yeah.
would you guys say motivates you on a daily basis?
Oh, that was cute.
So like, I feel like there's a lot of emphasis on just doing the job well. It's not so much what the commission or the payout is at the end. It's just showing up, and we're very systematized in the way we work. So we've got like 7 billion canned responses ready to go. Like our emails are already pre-written. And every client we work with, we have the different pillars that we move them through as the process goes along. So we're really just trying to like execute on doing really good work. And with that will come the money, because money is always part of the motivation. We live in a capitalistic society. You know, you have to say that is part of it.
course.
Yeah.
But it's more so in just doing the right thing. And we'll rather lose 6 offers before getting the right one, as opposed to
Absolutely.
just like putting someone in a position that we'll regret. Like I joke like, I want to send you a Christmas card and you open it. I don't want you to be like, oh, this guy,
Yeah.
rip, you know? So that's
Exactly.
like how we measure what the right or wrong
I
thing
like
to
that.
do is.
That's really
simple.
cute. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with the same thing. I think a lot of it right now, especially like, okay, I'm again coming on to 3 years. So a lot of it right now for me is like, I like to, I have the gamify approach. So I like to really just make sure, I'm trying to get to the point of just like straight consistency. Like the more consistent I can deliver good service to clients is like, that's my goal right now.
Yeah.
The motivation is just like that, like, you know, I think of a guy like Kobe Bryant, where like it was so much of doing the work. It was all the behind the scenes stuff. It was the 4 a.m. practices. It was the nonstop, relentless approach.
He was all about consistency.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
And that is
Yeah.
the key to this, because like 17, 22 years, it's, I don't want to say easy, but the first 3 years, it's easy to do good work. Are you going to be doing the same good work 15 to 20 years in? That's the real challenge. And that's what I like
Exactly.
being tested on.
For the first 10 years, I didn't even like being a realtor.
I heard that on
I-
one of the
I
previous
kept-
episodes.
I kept trying to quit.
I kept pulling you back in. Yeah.
Yeah, it has its moments for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we've
You
been
have
on,
to find the joy.
yeah, we've been on a roller coaster.
And you'll lose it sometimes.
Yeah,
I've lost the joy in certain
absolutely.
periods of it. Joy inspired a lot of that joy back, like having joy.
And that's what's so great about
Yeah.
having a team and having a partner, right? Is that you can support each other through this.
Yeah, that
It's
was
not
a-
easy, especially if you care. It's not easy.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a big thing for me. Even joining this, I know it's very lone wolf oriented. So when I joined, I was like, I'm not doing this alone. I don't think I'd
Smart.
have the same enjoyment.
Yeah,
that
I was super worried. I'm like, if I hire you and you steal everything I've taught you in 2 years, then
And
where does that
yeah.
put me? And he's like, I don't want to steal anything. I want someone to be with
Yeah.
to help me grow. And I trusted that in him. And I was like, yeah, let's do this. So
Yeah.
now the gates are open and he's learning everything I can teach him.
Were
And
you looking for him when he came into your?
should we get into that story?
Yeah. Because becoming a partner, like I know I say it all the time. I'm like, I'm looking for my partner.
Yeah.
And I'm putting it out there in the universe and whatnot. And my business partner, I have a fiance.
I know. It's like, look at me. What's
time.
happening over here?
Sorry.
What's this?
Sorry. I'm looking for another one over here. But yeah, so how did you open yourself up to it? And how did you,
Yeah.
was it something you were looking for?
No, massive control freak. Didn't want to let go of anything.
It sounds like me.
My way or the
You
highway.
see, she was already pointing
She
at me
knows.
already.
That was my vibe. I was like, I built myself up. I've done this on my own. I've been a solo agent for 17 years. I'm, done very content with my success. Why do I need someone else? Well, I need someone else because you can only do so much in a day and you can only do so many deals in a year.
And you want to scale.
Yeah.
You want to scale and you want more time.
And
for
quality
me.
of life.
Quality of
right?
life was a
Yeah.
big thing, like working 70 hours a week.
Yeah.
You can only do it for so long before you start to feel the health ramifications. You're like, let's pause the brakes here. So I decided to sell my very first condo I ever owned. And my thing was, don't sell anything in life. That's been my mantra. But it just made sense for me to sell this one. And so I put it up. It was the first place I ever bought. I had to sleep in the parking lot of Dufferin and Lawrence to buy this condo.
Oh my
it was
gosh.
a pre-con from Lanterra.
Wow.
So there was like, I did
That's sentimental.
so sentimental.
Yeah.
I did 15 deals in that project with all my good friends, and we lived one on top of each other.
Wow.
That's so nice.
We were very close, and it was tough for me to make this move, but I was evolving. Me and my wife needed a place, so it just made sense. Long story short, I put it up. I get 100 plus showings, 7 offers,
Wow.
and this guy called me a few times with a buyer. And so when I made my decision on who to pick out of the 7 offers, it was the money, the closing date, all those things were important, but also who I was selling it to and who the realtor was that was representing him. And Joey, I was like, this guy's 10 years in the business. Yeah, I like him. I trust him. He'll get the deal done. not knowing.
Oh my God.
It was a year away. Yeah, I think it was year 1 at that point.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we did the deal. It closed. Whatever.
That's
life
really
went on.
good. That says a lot.
Hold on a second.
Right?
So I get a call 4 months after closing, and I'm like panic. I'm like, am I getting sued? Why are you calling me 4 months after closing? Like, I spent that money. There's nothing more to give you back. And he's like, do you mind if I pick your brain about just the business? And I'm like, yeah, but how long have you been in it? And he's like, a year and a half. I'm like, dude, I felt like you were in it for 10 years because you did such a good job representing your client. Let's definitely sit down. And it was just for a casual coffee. It was nothing more than a coffee.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and the original instinct was literally, I didn't plan either to ask him to partner up or anything. It was literally like, I walked into your listing. I love the way that it was marketed. You killed it. It showed really well. And I just wanted to pick your brain about like, I passed the year mark, and I don't know. I just want to see what's out there. And then we ended up, we grabbed the coffee, just started talking. And then in the middle of our conversation at some point, I was like, have you thought about like partnering up and doing something together? Cause I was struggling, I was like, do I go team and kind of keep going that approach, or should I just change brokerages and feel things out?
Yeah.
And then you kind of, I don't know.
I said, go interview 3 other realtors. I don't know. Go talk to other people. I don't know if I'm the right guy for you. If you still like me more than the other 3, we'll talk further.
Yeah, you were pointing me
I like
everywhere,
that.
actually, brokerages and realtors. You give me a huge list.
I gave him like 4 or 5 people. I'm like, call these people. They're all good people. You're going to get good recommendations.
Try this person and then come back.
Well, maybe I didn't have that much confidence in myself as well, because I was like, I think these people might be a better mentor to you than me. But we just clicked.
That's good. That's really interesting that you say that, because that is certainly a part of it, right? Like, you do feel like kind of imposter syndrome, even though you don't know what you know, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like, how do you teach what you don't know that you know?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. My mind's like, but you're right on that.
But you don't realize how much you can actually give.
Right.
Right?
Because I never had that opportunity. And
Exactly.
I feel like I don't want to be a coach. I don't want to have a boot camp. I just want to do the work every day.
Yeah.
It's like, I never want to retire. I love what I do. But now that I've been kind of helping Joey along the way, I'm like, I don't know, maybe I do want to help some more people out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good. It was definitely a good organic connection that we had.
I think that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I mean, organically. I think when you try too hard to do something, it doesn't really work.
Yeah, I couldn't try too hard. I had to like chisel away.
It took her a long
Like
time.
a year,
Ooh.
maybe a year and a half. Well, it was like I planted a seed and I watered it.
There you go. That was your 30-year
She was
process.
like an orchid, you know, a little bit
Very
of water,
testy.
not too much.
Just leave 1 ice cube, let it sit there, and then
And then the final sledgehammer.
Yeah, I had no interest in partnering.
Yeah.
It took me a while
It
to come
does.
around.
You wanted to, but you just didn't have the trust.
I have
finding the
trust
right
issues,
fit. Yeah. And I think like you're doing the right approach, like put it out there, just talking to people. And maybe if you do a deal with someone on the other side that you like, take them for that coffee and see if there is that synergy.
That's a good.
That's the Joey trick.
Yeah, maybe. We'll
Or
see.
just find somebody you like and just keep forcing them to hug you. Eventually,
I'm like cement. She comes up to hug me and I'm like, I just go still.
Yeah, I'm very much the same.
I'm a cancer crab, so it's like,
Okay.
you can't really go under my shell. Like it takes you a really long time. And then I'll give you a little bit and you're like, and then it's like, nope, should go back into my shell.
Are you the same sign?
No, I'm
she's a
Capricorn.
Capricorn? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to, should we all reveal our I'm a Virgo.
I could have guessed that
Really?
one. Yes.
Good.
Okay, let me guess. Pisces?
No,
Okay.
Scorpio.
Scorpio!
You guys are everywhere.
Yes. Okay.
And it's that energy that's like
But I knew
highly
you're
contagious.
a water sign. I was like, because Pisces, Cancer,
Are you Cancer?
Yeah, I'm Cancer.
and Scorpio are water signs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I get like most of my
Virgo
friends
and,
are all
and Scorpio work well.
Scorpios, Capricorns.
Her too.
Yeah.
So you're in the right company.
Yeah, definitely.
Totally in the right company.
You found your people.
Absolutely.
I want to ask what you guys think about what's going to happen this year in terms of real estate.
In
Like,
one word,
you don't have to do it in one
I
word.
can
but
do it
if
in
you
one
want
word.
to, sure.
better.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely better than the year we've had. I think
Yeah.
the upswings are happening and
Yeah.
like those indicators that we were discussing earlier. I feel very optimistic about 2024.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Me too.
I think the mystery has always been between 2024 and 2025 when all the renewals are coming to surface, and then this chase of how far are we going to lower interest rates by the time that the new inventory hits the market. But I don't know. I'm more optimistic is what's coming around the corner right now.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering about how the government is going to get involved here. You
To
know what
mess
I
it
mean?
all up?
Yeah, like it just seems like every time
That's
things start
the
to
wild
go.
card.
Yeah. So they do have to be very delicate with these rate drops because they don't
Yeah.
want to go too fast and get everyone super excited.
Yeah.
We have a guess that we think 0.5 is going to be the target
Yeah.
that they drop it. We were in a meeting yesterday where the broker suggested or thought 1.5.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
By the
I
end
don't
of the
think so.
year?
By the end of the year.
By the end of the year. Yeah.
I don't think so either.
It's something drastic has to happen for them to go that much.
Right.
in
I
one
would say
year.
1.
Yeah.
what I'm
Maybe
gathering.
between 0.5,
0.5 and
1.
1 is kind of the sweet spot right now. But
Yeah.
like things are so fluid, right? And like there's been 2 reports out. Remax said the GTA is going to drop 3%. Roy LePage said they're going to go up 6%.
I
Wow.
think I trust
Neither
Phil
of them.
Soper.
I like option 3, neither of them.
Phil Soper's usually pretty good with his predictions.
His predictions?
I think.
Yeah.
I follow. Depends.
None of them have been right.
Ever.
Ever.
It's-
Like
it's
he's
this
not right
constant-
either. And like sometimes if you watch him,
Well,
he-
who's right about like nobody's got a crystal ball.
Well, and part of the
I
challenge,
just don't listen to any of them.
I think that's the best approach because like look in a year how much things have changed.
Yeah.
I like 3 months at a time. I think that's a realistic time frame. If I'm working with a client, we'll often say, well, what does the next 3 months look like? Forget the year because
You
one world event changes it all.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But that's the thing. Like once the government does something and then the media gets a hold of it, that can change everything.
So what do you
Right.
think the government may do?
Who knows?
This is a very good question.
yeah, like literally, who knows? Like after the last 3 years we've had, like
Anything is
anything is
possible.
possible.
Well,
Yes.
look, even on a simple basis, how much the Airbnb rules have changed.
Yes.
Just in the last 2 years.
What about development fees?
development
Yeah,
fees?
Like
Whole
they
other can of
literally are
worms.
preventing developers from building
Right.
right now, which I don't understand the thought process
The
behind that. Since
vacant
we're
tax. There's so many. The vacancy
yeah, like
tax, there's so
you
many
want to bring
things.
all these people into the country, but you want to give them nowhere to live and no
Right.
options for
Right.
anywhere to live.
And it's like, you guys figure it out. Like us as the government, we're just going to make this happen.
Yeah, but nobody like you're not even making it attractive for people to want to buy, and because everything's in favor of the tenant
Yeah.
right now. So
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
are you helping?
Right.
I would
Right
really
now.
like them to do something for the landlord and tenant board.
Yeah.
I would like that would be nice if they did something like
Well,
they
yeah,
made some
like,
changes
no, it's-
there.
it's
like
scary.
for
It's-
the landlord.
like, and we're not
just
saying
be more
like, just
clear.
a little more balance
Yeah.
would be
More
nice.
balance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
absolutely.
and bringing in more people to work in these government
Yeah.
offices.
Just to speed up the
Who actually
the
know what they're
turnaround.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
to train them. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm sorry, I've been on the phone with CRA a few times this year, and I'm shocked at the level of incompetence. They don't know. They really don't know what
They're
doing.
overwhelmed.
Yeah.
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 That's a bit frightening.
Very much.
Because if you're not paying attention to your money right now, you should be.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they can, and it's happened to me. They lost $10,000 of my money, just random.
Yeah.
You know, and because I was tracking it, like I did an online.
Can you track mine?
No, absolutely not. It's bad enough.
One's hard enough.
I did
Yeah.
an online installment and they lost it. You know, good luck finding it. It took me a year and a half.
See, that's interesting you say that. I'm super old school. I go to the bank for everything. I want to stamp.
It was the only time I ever did it.
and
And
stories
I
like
will
that.
never do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've told my accountant the same thing. She's like, "Oh, just send an installment." I'm like, "Nope,
Yeah.
nope, never
Yeah.
again."
Yeah.
Because I honestly, like, the onus is on you.
Right.
If
To find
they
it.
make a mistake,
Yeah.
the onus is on you to fix it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay,
Now
and
I'm gonna go dig through all my
I would,
CRA stuff.
I would honestly like.
God,
It's,
I can't afford a mistake like that. So
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'm sorry. You don't. She doesn't live here anymore.
she passed away.
Well, I think that ties into like the whole like moving forward with technology. And I know one of the questions you have is like, how is technology going to impact things? It's like sometimes that old school approach is the best approach.
Yeah.
It's just I don't
back to basics.
back to basics
Yeah.
is easy. It works. And don't get me wrong, computers and all that stuff has definitely made our
Yeah,
lives
but what happens
easier.
when? And we were just talking about this. That movie. What was it called again? Leave the World Behind.
Yeah.
Like that. There's a perfect example of what happens if you're completely dependent on technology and it shuts down.
Did you see who the executive producers are of that?
No.
Barack and Michelle Obama.
Wow.
I was like, sorry.
Interesting.
Run that back.
What are you trying to tell us?
So do you know the part where the sun, it's not a spoiler alert, but there's that loud sound that comes and they get the
Yes.
headaches? That actually happened in the Cuban embassy while Barack was president. Like
And
that's
that
a real life thing that
caused
happened.
neurological damage
Exactly.
to people.
Yeah.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah. And nobody understood what that
Yeah,
was.
and then everybody wanted to. They were all like, they wouldn't want. Oh, yes, I remember
Right?
that. Yes.
So it's like are there signs you're telling me in this? Should I not buy the Tesla? Like,
Well, like,
Well, they
okay,
can
so
just shut down your car.
Don't buy the Tesla.
then in the movie, it just shows these Teslas like constantly, like all they're doing is coming and crashing
in autopilot.
the auto because they've got nowhere.
I'm not buying any Teslas.
But it gets crazier. Like even the boats, like the planes are falling from the sky because the GPS stops working.
Yeah.
The boats just
Oh my
crash into the
God.
beaches. And it's like, we're so dependent on
We're
technology.
so dependent
Yeah.
on technology, and that's the point.
Yeah.
Like,
Yesterday,
is it
yesterday I
true
was
that
at a
I-
spa. Sorry,
That's okay. Oh,
just on that topic, was a little robot that
Yeah.
was like singing happy birthday to people and was bringing drinks. And I was so freaked out
think
and it
that's
was
creepy.
looking at me. I was like, okay.
But you go to Japan and
and
that's
my daughter
completely
was like,
normal.
oh, it's so cute. I'm like, that's not cute.
Human interaction is cute, not robot
is not
interaction.
Yeah, but that's normal in
little
other
scary.
countries,
Yeah.
right? Like we don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we have blinders on at Canada, and I would say even the U.S. on some level have blinders on to technology and just what's happening
Right.
that's not being shared.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Sorry.
I don't even remember now.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's not
Well, there's another thing I was reading with like a lot of they want to have AI powered robots taking care of seniors in long term care facilities.
That's a bit frightening as well.
Extremely.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just so not human.
It's moving so fast.
It's
I think like our
removing
brains,
humanity.
we're not caught up to the speed of technology.
No.
And the old people, they don't want computers taking care of them. They're the last thing. Like, it's not
last
like
thing
they're
they want.
young. Like, they're not young enough to understand that. Like,
That's
Well,
actually
there's-
really sad.
that's
About
really
that.
sad.
Yeah.
So they won't have to pay people to take care of them.
Yeah,
That's
but
just
at
ridiculous.
that stage in your life, you want human connection. You don't want to be
Yeah.
disconnected.
My
My first job was at a retirement home
Oh,
Oh, did you?
in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But I would literally be sitting after my shift and hearing the same story
Yeah.
over. And it was Bert and Gertrude. They were, yeah.
well, their generation has so much to
Yeah.
teach us. Like they'll
Yeah,
go on.
They really do.
But like,
Yeah.
and you're talking about your daughter and like the difference of what you as a mom is like. Whoa, no, that's not cute. Cute is me hugging you and
cute.
giving that emotion.
Exactly.
So
I'm cute.
It's our generation though. Like imagine like our parents and what they think of us, right?
Absolutely.
Like and when like when we started real estate, we both had pagers.
yeah,
You know, so
Alphanumeric.
yeah,
It was
like,
so cool.
I was faxing. My first 2 years was faxing.
yeah.
That was the thing.
Oh,
Stand
my
by
mom
the.
had it. My mom was a real estate agent as well, and she used to carry around a typewriter in her trunk.
No way.
Oh yeah,
crazy.
She had like everything she would like, and it would have carbon copies behind it, so she would have to type it and then give a copy.
And she was probably like the most technologically advanced out there to have that.
Well, she was smart.
Yeah.
She was like, I'm getting this deal done.
Yeah.
She was like 4 feet tall.
She was tiny.
Can you imagine
But
her
mighty,
carrying
got it done.
Yeah, tiny but mighty.
Yeah.
Like she had a reputation of being, a little bit of a pit bull.
Okay, I like that.
That's right. Yeah.
Another emoji to add to the shirt. Yeah.
If you could go back 5 years, what advice would you give yourself?
Focus on the systems. Be more systematic. I think that is the real secret sauce of moving your business ahead, of having all the objections, all the questions, all those things pre-ready to go. Because your client's coming to you and they want that process moving. So I've gotten better actually within the last 5 years of that. But if I would have done that 10 years ago, I think I would be smooth sailing and have 15 Joeys working with me.
Interesting.
I agree. I think you have to have everything systemized if you want to run efficiently.
Absolutely.
Like it makes life easier if you want to go on vacation, if you want to like live your life,
Yep.
then having those systems in place will just
And then you're not chasing your tail.
yeah.
Constantly doing the same thing over and over again.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
this happens, this happens. If this happens, that happens.
Yeah.
Like, it's perfect because it's yes, every transaction is different, but like the meat and potatoes of it is all the same.
Right. The framework is the same and you can tweak the ingredients as we go along, but we kind of do the same thing repetitively. And the better we get at that, the better the experience is for the clients.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is a good one. I'm going to say mine to the new agents who are listening. Slow down. That was the biggest takeaway I've gotten from when I started partnering with Mark is take a beat and take the panic away for a second and just like calmly go through whatever process you need to go through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The very beginning, it was the Swan nickname came for a reason. It was very like
The legs were always spinning, the feet were always going.
yeah. Mark heard some phone calls from me very early on, which was like the internal like you get all the internal thoughts when you first kind of get into some kind of panicky situation. And the biggest thing I've gotten since then has just been like just take a breath, slow down, and go through like problem solve what you have in front of you.
Take a step back,
Yeah.
view it from 3,000 feet in the sky, and it's not that big of a problem. this has probably happened before. We can find some counsel and get it sorted out.
Yeah.
We actually, or she introduced me to a coach who helped me a lot with that, because I'm one of those people, like my mind goes 1,000 miles a minute. But what I started listening to different podcasts that really helped me realize that it's all in your head.
Absolutely.
Guided meditation,
Yeah.
Wim Hof,
But
breath work.
you're your own worst enemy. Right?
I love the ice baths. I'm like, I brought him to the ice baths.
Yeah. But like you need to recognize that you're doing it to yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can also change that.
But you said breathe. It's so crazy what our breath can do for us on so many levels. Cellular, just anxiety, everything that's like not feeling good can be fixed by breathing.
I'm good at putting things on ice. I'm like, I'm going to put you on ice for a sec.
Do you put your booty on ice sometimes?
If it
Like
needs
in the
it.
It's got to happen.
If it needs it. If it needs it.
No, Christina's very good at that, actually.
Yeah, like it's like it's just I'm gonna put you on ice.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to react. I'm a snapper.
Yeah.
So I don't want to snap. So I'm like, I'm just gonna put you on ice. I'm gonna come back to you tomorrow or maybe later today, and we'll just all have a better perspective.
Yeah. It's about creating that space between the reaction, the stimulus, and giving yourself that room to like, let me think this through before I quickly go at it.
Yeah, because the Greek in me will come right away.
Lebanese Scorpio.
This is a spicy podcast we got going on here.
I think I'm probably the calmest out of the.
She is actually very calm.
Yeah.
And did you learn that, or have you always been like that?
I learned it.
From the,
I learned it. But I mean, I've had numerous things that have happened in my life that kind of forced me in that direction.
Yeah, but
It's like you can get mad. I could get mad at literally everything, and it gets me nowhere.
right.
So
Emotional regulation is not easy though, especially if you've had a lot of trauma or PTSD. So speaking from experience, I just had my vagus nerve. What's it called again?
Shocked?
Like
the stimulation of it?
No, like
she had an injection in her vagus.
peptides into my vagus nerve just to give me that like. I'm getting much better, right? I am getting better.
It's a work in progress for sure.
And so we heard a lot of really great things about it. One of our friends did it. So I thought just give that space between the stimulus and the reaction. Yeah. And often when you do that, even like they say 90 seconds, then
That's
you
it.
just like
a small little amount.
So
take a
but
step back.
like these are the things that this is the training we should be doing as realtors.
Yeah.
Not so much like how to effectively door knock.
Exactly.
Like how to manage your own reactions could be the key to so much more success.
But teach people how to be comfortable with themselves.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? If you're good with you, you're going to be a lot better with everything else.
Yeah. That also translates to client service, right? Like you do way better for your client if you're in that calm atmosphere. You're able to detach is one of the things that we talk about a lot. It's just like you take a moment and detach yourself from the situation and
from
like
the outcome,
and you can come into it in a calm demeanor, and putting it on ice helps with that. Like take a second, walk out of the room, get away from the situation that you're in, and like you come back like, okay, everything's sunk. I can see the picture now, and like you can make a proper decision.
I can see where I'm not being listened to.
Yeah.
And we're going around in circles, and let's try a different approach.
Yeah.
And just pivoting all the time.
I will say it has served me in real estate. Like I don't really react when it comes to like clients or other agents, but there have been times where like I'm pretty friendly, and I just joke around, and literally within a second I'm just like and people don't realize it. Like other agents especially are very shocked, so it can actually work. Because it throws them off their game.
It's a tool you need. Like that shouldn't be discounted, right? It's not like all rainbows and love. Like there is a time.
Like I'm not yelling.
You don't want to be steamrolled
but
either, because we deal with how many agents in this city, right? So you have to be able to tailor.
The boundaries come down.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's knowing when like
no longer fun and games.
Yeah, this is an appropriate time for me to be like, hey, cut the BS. We're trying to get this deal done. I can be nice, but I can also be very sharp if necessary. Yeah.
I put an agent on a timeout once.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Did you?
I was like, I'm going to give you a timeout. Call me back when you're calm.
And how did it work?
It worked perfectly.
Yeah, because it snaps them like, oh shit, this is them. Like I still want to do this deal.
Yeah.
I still want to get this transaction done, so I better like check my ego.
The ego, yeah.
Check it.
And you're always working for your client, right? So you never want to react and then have a negative correspondence to that reaction
For sure.
for the client. So when you have that responsibility, it helps you. puts things into perspective.
Oh, for
Absolutely.
sure. And you were around then for how many times Treb has changed,
Oh God.
right? So we're about to go through it again
Yep.
with Realm. And I don't know,
Just
like
makes me very upset.
MPAC just sent me an email with all these courses, and you know me, I've signed up for them all.
Nice.
I'm like, because I think we're at a disadvantage if we don't know how the system works.
Absolutely.
Right. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to get ahead of it, but man, they're changing a lot this time.
We went deep with the Tressa changes.
Yeah.
So we spent a
Tressa,
good
yeah.
month, like internally, just him and I understanding and learning
What's
all
the
the
biggest
ways.
change you're noticing?
I'm most excited for the open biddings, open offers. That no longer does have to be a closed bidding system.
That's still
Right.
up to the seller.
Yeah.
Still up to the seller.
The seller has to say, yes, I'm okay with you sharing the information.
Correct. And they can change it even on the day of closing and say, actually, I've changed my mind. But I think it's a step in the right direction.
Day of closing or day of offers?
Day of offers.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to happen? My instinct's like people are not going to go for it.
So as of December 1st, it totally is allowed to
No,
happen.
I don't mean like it's not going to be passed, but I
Yeah.
mean, will sellers actually feel comfortable with that?
I think it's our job to tell them strategy wise. So like I equate it to, let's say,
yeah,
a
it
bidding
depends on the
date.
situation, I guess.
Like,
yeah.
so there's 7 days to review an offer. Do you want to tell them or like give them the choice of having a bully offer come in? Or do you want to say, maybe it's best to stick out the 7?
Yeah.
So I'm treating it the same way. Like you could do closed. I think it might be better to do open because I think buyers would be more receptive to it. But it's a growing pain. No one knows till like a year in to seeing what.
Yeah, every situation will be different.
Will be
I guess.
different.
Like it's
Yeah.
like an auction.
Yeah.
I mean, they do it in the States,
Yeah.
right? Like they auction properties.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe we're going to move towards that style. I don't know.
I could see like in the final stage of offers, like let's say you're doing a few rounds,
The last 3,
the last,
this is
Yeah.
what we're at.
and you're like, okay, here we are. Who's going to
Yeah.
beat it?
Yeah.
Because at least the buyer walks away saying like, at least I know what I lost out on
And I
instead
think
of the
that's
mystery.
been the biggest problem is like, did I overpay
Right.
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
$50,000?
Or
Right. It does
5,000.
happen.
Like
Yeah.
what was the spread? And we can't say it legally, but at
No.
least if we have the seller's permission, we can at least disclose
Yeah, you
that.
want everybody to feel good about walking away from that transaction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you. I think that would be a nice thing, and probably in the end stages of
Yeah.
where the offers end up.
And I love that you guys brought up that scenario because we don't know what the best strategy would be to implement it. But as we go through them, we're going to get a little bit better at saying now's the time to like
Yeah.
change this and do that.
You'll
And-
know.
Yeah.
You'll know when it's useful.
I'm wondering if they'll end up changing the because you can flip it at any time as a seller right now. But I'm wondering if they tighten that rule up and just say if you decide one way, you stick to that
stick
way
through
through the whole way.
I mean, ultimately, it's up to the seller.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
can they really say?
Yeah.
The seller
It's
can do
their
that now
property.
if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Right? If they say, go ahead, tell them what we're going to say, no, this is the seller's choice.
Yeah.
So then the other caveat that's
You should get it in writing though.
Oh yeah, always. Yeah. So the buyer can say, "Thank you for having an open bidding system. I don't want my bid shared. So you have to
Right.
keep my bid private."
Oh, interesting.
Right. So now it's like
So
one step forward, 3 steps
How much
back.
more paperwork do we have?
A lot.
Like I'm
A
just
lot.
thinking everything, every step of that is in
Has to be
writing.
documented.
Everything,
crazy.
every conversation we have, generally we follow it up with an email.
Yeah.
Because it's
You
a
want that
lot.
paper
It's
trail.
got to
Oh,
be
yeah.
Yeah.
somewhere. The only problem is there's so many methods of communication right now.
Yeah.
Like even between me and her,
Oh
we're
yeah,
like,
sometimes I'm like, did you not just send me a message?
Yeah.
Like, where is it? Like, is it Instagram, WhatsApp, email?
DM?
Where did
Yeah.
you send it? And then you start thinking you're going crazy. Like, did she send
Yeah.
me a
Yeah.
and then we also have group chats going on too,
Right.
right? So we're
That's
like,
how it happens.
we're like, okay, where did we? I know I saw this somewhere. I just don't know where.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's like the search word.
Yeah.
I'm doing a search word everywhere.
Oh yeah.
It gets worse when you talk in emojis because I'm like snake emoji. But it's just something,
Do
another
you have
thing
a
to adjust
Bitmoji?
to. No, no, I'm not that cool.
Well, we're coming up to the end of the pod, and we're going to do
can
our
talk forever.
rare. Yeah, we can.
We're gonna have you on ours.
I would
We need
love
more
it.
space,
Continue
but
it,
we'll.
we'll bigger.
Continue.
Yeah, this is a good conversation, a refreshing one.
2024 can so many possibilities.
Absolutely.
Amazing. So our rare roundup. It's our
Okay.
favorite part of the podcast.
Ooh.
So for each of you, answer. What is your favorite GTA neighborhood?
I'm Midtown, so I'm young in Eglinton. That's where I am. That's where I've set up shop. So like that, it's just home. You know, I got everything that. That's all my people are there.
The peeps.
I think long and hard about this question because I've heard you ask it numerous times. So this is a very thought out answer.
I love
I'm a fanboy. I'm number one fanboy. So for investment, I really like the area of Eglinton Avenue West between Marley and Caledonia. I think that's going to be tremendous
investment?
value for investment because the
Yeah.
LRT is coming.
Yeah.
The zoning's changing with how high the building's going to go.
Prices are low still.
Prices are so low
Yeah.
compared to the GTA averages. So I really like that for investment. But if I had to love St. Clair West between Dufferin and Bathurst. That strip there, the restaurants, Fed, O'Connell, Rushton, it can go on for days.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that just feels right to me as
That's
home.
a good spot.
Yeah.
Love that.
Bathurst and St. Clair is actually
Thank
a really
you
nice
for
spot.
that.
it.
That's really
Yeah.
good. Well thought out.
What's your go-to meal on the road?
Also well thought out.
I love it. You're the most prepared, I think, person
We love food. Yeah, thank you. So it's easy to talk about food. So I got 2 spots. Marley Avenue, Zito's Marketplace. The
You just
best-
talked about this on your last
I
podcast.
always talk about that. It's an essential thing.
Never been.
just
Okay.
heard it.
Yeah, so they've got nunnas in the basement cooking the food.
that's
The hot table is so good.
Yeah, it's very good.
Zito's?
Zito's Marketplace, 210 Marley.
Okay.
And then for sushi, I love sushi on Bloor. It's called New Gen
Yes,
Sushi.
I've been there.
Yeah,
So good.
New Gen is
Yeah.
the spot. Get the salmon set, and it's like next level.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't been there.
Yeah, like just west of Spadina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Between Bathurst and Spadina, north side. Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds
I'm going to give 2 shout outs on mine too.
Do it.
Yeah. So our spot that we always go to is Flaming Stove.
Best kept secret.
Yeah. So
Oh.
it's in the back of a Hasty Market. So
Oh.
you literally walk into what looks like a convenience store, and then in the back they make the best shawarmas. I think probably,
Really?
yeah, they're my favorite
100%.
shawarmas in the
Yeah.
city.
Where is this?
Where?
So it's Davisville and Young. So you know where there's a Burrito Boys that opened up somewhat recently. It's across the street from.
No, we got to talk real estate terms. Next to Sotheby's.
Okay.
Right behind Sotheby's.
Stereo. So Davisville and Young?
Davisville and Young. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
What was it called?
Flaming Stove.
Flaming
Flaming
Stove.
Stove.
Yeah. It's just a Hasty Market. I think the Flaming Stove
Yeah.
might be just like a piece of like a poster on the window.
Yeah. You'll walk in, you're like,
Wow. How
this
did
is
you
not
find
the
it?
spot.
This one actually.
My wife.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
She finds all the good spots.
That's so good. Okay.
And second shout out. He's not open right now. He's taking a hiatus, but I got to give it to Sandwichito, which is St. Clair and Oakville.
Oakwood.
Sorry.
Yeah, you found that one.
Yeah, which is probably the best. It's like a Cuban sandwich mixed with like a deli sandwich. The best flavors I've ever had.
Yeah.
We had him cater
An open house.
recently too. He's taking a hiatus right now, so his spot. He didn't used to have a storefront. It used to literally be you place an order, you show up at a door, and you just wait for him.
That's behind a dentistry.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the
Wow.
most obscure spots,
Those
but
are
it was
always the best spots.
Incredible. Yeah, it was
We're
one
gonna-
of the best sandwiches.
We're
on
going to bring him back. We'll have you guys out to an event and
All
you can
right.
taste
I
the
would
magic.
love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
That sounds amazing.
Well, this was amazing. Thank you guys so much
got
for
one
joining
more.
us. Oh, sorry. Taking you out.
And finally, what makes an agent rare?
Ooh.
This is the important one.
This one was not thought out?
I'm bluffing. I know my answer.
There's no way you don't have a
So good. Oh my God.
Consistency. A rare agent. A consistent agent is a rare agent because so hard, like you can have a quick sprint of a couple months where you try to do something, but someone who's been doing it for years consistent, that to me is the type of agent I look for. And that's a quality that I see in him that I think is going to take you into really good things in your future.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you.
My pleasure. You guys are cute.
You're so cute. Love that. Bromance.
No, I'll give persistence is definitely like one of the top. But I think the ability to problem solve in stressful situations for me, that's like what can set you apart.
Keeping the swan energy.
yeah, keeping the swan
Absolutely.
energy up top.
Yeah.
Yes.
Calm, but really not.
Yeah.
Don't show that.
Don't show the feet
freak
paddle.
out.
Yeah.
Really not.
Like the Roadrunner feet underneath.
Don't show that side. Yeah. Well, thank you for having us. This was awesome.
Yeah,
This was really
this is
great.
amazing. We hope to have more.
We really liked the energy here. It was
Yeah,
amazing.
it was lovely.
Vice versa. Thank you
Love
for that.
meeting fans.
Yeah.
You know,
Do you want to
Sign your shirt.
Don't check eBay in like 24 hours. Awesome.
That was the best. We have to get a picture with that for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Drop the mic.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Please don't drop my
Don't
mic.
forget to like, subscribe, to tell your friends.
Yeah.
And Toronto
we'll
Livings.
Yeah.
And tune into the Toronto Livings podcast as well, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Ooh. Snap.
Thank
Snap.
you.
Thanks, guys.